Are consumers making healthier purchases? Fooducate, a new free app designed to decode nutrition. And since when is global warming not a top concern? For September 14th, 2011, this is Food News Today. Good morning. Today's broadcast is pre-recorded. Please feel free to email me any thoughts, comments, or questions or suggestions that you may have. Phil@supermarketguru.com. Also, I hope you won't forget to go to the iTunes store and download our Smarter Shopping app. It's free. Food News Today is sponsored by ConAgra Foods, who shares with me the desire to provide the most current, interesting, and unbiased food news. In consumer trends, you might think that celebrity-backed products would be great, right? Tastes great or produces great results or even make you look like one of those celebs. Well, not so fast. A new report from Consumer Reports found that many celeb-backed food products are less than great. The report ranked 26 food products from TV chefs and other celebrities and found half of them to be average or less, despite their higher cost. The worst? Emeril Lagasse's marinara sauce, as well as Newman's Own, which uses tomato puree and powdered or dried garlic. The Supermarket Guru Consumer Panel weighs in on healthy food purchases. And there's no question that eating healthy is on the top of mind for many Americans. But just because we're thinking about it doesn't mean we're actually going to do anything about it. To find out how consumers are changing their habits, if at all, the Lemp Report surveyed the Supermarket Guru Consumer Panel. And to our surprise, consumers report making a lot of healthy changes, even for special occasions. When asked how often their grocery basket includes healthful choices, 87% said always, while a mere 14% said only sometimes. 71% of consumers say that over 75% of their shopping basket contains those healthful choices, while 18% said that about half of their basket contained those. What a difference a year makes. 59% of the consumer panel reported choosing more healthful choices as compared to what they did a year ago. And here are the reasons. 37% say they're trying to lose weight. 36% have recently learned more about nutrition, while 19% are trying to maintain their current weight. 15% say, hey, it's doctor's orders. And while the majority, 58%, believe their supermarket is helping in the healthy eating effort, 42% believe that their supermarket could be doing more. Is this a story about technology or health and wellness or extreme retail? Well, you decide. It's a new app called Fooducate. Earlier this week, I interviewed Hemi Weingarten, a successful entrepreneur and engineer, a father and a blogger who is confused about what's available in the supermarket. With so many products, so many health claims, so many nutrients, and so many ingredients, and so many promises being made by manufacturers. Hemi decided to figure it all out himself, and Fooducate was born. Here's what he has to say. Fooducate is one of the fastest growing and biggest apps in the iTunes store. What was the reason for starting it, and what is it?
Okay, the reason for starting it is being a parent. I have 3 young children. A few years ago, when they were still babies, my wife came home from the supermarket one day with a glow-in-the-dark yogurt. It was something strawberry flavored, but there was no strawberry in there. Instead, after reading the ingredient list for the first time in my life, I discovered red number 40. I Googled this ingredient up and I realized that it's not something I want my kids to consume. And this started a journey for me of discovery. And I said, wow, there are so many things we don't know about foods that we buy. I wish there was an app for that. So I said, wouldn't it be great to have a tool for parents like me to be able to make decisions based on objective information and not necessarily what is written on the product packaging.
So you come from an engineering, from a technical background, not necessarily the food world. My question is, since you started the blog on Fooducate, what are some of the most interesting things that you've found from your readers?
Way before we released the Fooducate iPhone app and Android app, I started a blog. This is almost 3 years ago. So first of all, I discovered that there's no other blog or no other major media outlet doing this specific format of daily blog posts talking about how to choose better food in the supermarket. So very quickly, the blog became popular. And what I learned is that mostly women are interested in nutrition. Unfortunately, about 80% or even close to 90% of our readership is women. I also learned that there's a lot of passion, and it doesn't matter which side of an argument you're on. When it comes to nutrition arguments, people are very passionate. Just yesterday, for example, we posted about a new movie raising controversial questions about milk and the dairy industry. And right now, there are at least 40 comments on that thread. In general, the blog is being received very well, both by consumers and the professional medical industry. Lots of dietitians follow and tweet our articles, and we've been quoted in the New York Times, the LA Times, Washington Post, etc., etc.
Now, you just launched a new contest called the Healthy Kids Snack Scanning Contest. What's that all about, and how can we get involved?
We want people to be engaged and to think about the different foods that they're buying. So every week we do some sort of a scanning or some sort of a contest around finding healthy foods. We're in back to school season, so 2 or 3 weeks ago we did this little competition, this little contest where we wanted to see what people's favorite snacks are for their kids. And this is snacks that have barcodes. So obviously we're not talking about the best things, which are pieces of fresh fruit, but we were talking about what are the packaged things that parents could buy for their kids. We got a lot of interesting results. A lot of parents scanned little hummus packages or carrots, baby carrots. There's also innovative packaging for blueberries from a company called Nature Ripe. So we were surprised to see that there were a lot of unprocessed products that parents scanned. Of course, we got scans for Lunchables and for potato chips in smaller packs, you know, the 100-calorie packs. So it was really all over the board.
Thanks, Hemi. And according to the Ovum organization, app downloads will surpass 18 billion by the end of this year. Now, that's an increase of 144% from just the 7.4 billion in downloads worldwide a year ago. And the growth path is on track to surpass 45 billion in the year 2016. Now, what's going on with our weather? Hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, even in New York City? Well, it's our lead story today in sustainability. About a month ago, the Environmental Working Group came out with the Meat Eater's Guide to Climate Change and Health, a report that found many surprising facts about meat consumption and its effect on both health and the environment. Most notably, if you were to skip a steak dinner once a week with your 4-person family, that would have the equivalent effect as taking your car off the road for 3 months. Now, despite these findings and more, it appears that consumers are still not convinced that global warming should be a top priority. Same for some weathercasters, and fewer than 1/3 who believe that climate change is actually caused mostly by human activities. Now get this, more than a quarter of the weathercasters in a national survey conducted by George Mason University and the University of Texas at Austin found that the statement global warming is a scam was agreed to by 27% of the newscasters. Wow. Back to the consumer. A recent Nielsen survey found that consumer concern about climate change and global warming takes a back seat compared to other environmental issues such as air and water pollution, water shortages, packaging waste, and the use of pesticides. The survey, titled 2011 Global Online Environment and Sustainability Survey, queried over 25,000 internet respondents in 51 countries. 69% say they're concerned about climate change and global warming, but concern for other environmental issues are taking a higher priority in the minds of these consumers and are rising with greater intensity. 3 out of 4 global consumers rated air pollution at 77% and water pollution 75% as their top concerns. But the areas where concern is mounting fastest, among 73%, is the worry over the use of pesticides, packaging waste, and water shortages. The American consumer is one of the biggest skeptics, recording one of the steepest declines in concern about climate change and global warming from 2007 to 2011, dropping a full 14 percentage points. According to Nielsen, today less than half of Americans say that they're concerned about climate change. On the other hand, Latin Americans remain the most concerned about climate change and global warming at 90%. Perhaps it's time that our TV weather people left their studios, left their makeup, and took a look and a whiff outside. For Food News Today, I'm Phil Lempert. Thanks for joining us. If you have a colleague in retailing, the media, or a blogger who would like to also receive our advanced news email, I hope you'll ask them to go to foodnewstoday.com to sign up. Next week's stories will be in your Tuesday email.